All right. So today I'm here with a longtime friend, Mr. Brannon Valade. How you doing today, Brannon?
Yeah, doing all right, can't complain. Another
Yeah,
day.
nice. So I'm here with Brannon. We've known each other since high school. We studied together at the University of Florida. And I decided to do an interview with him because he's been teaching overseas in Korea for a few years, which is something that I've done as well. I've taught overseas. So kind of comparing and contrasting our experiences teaching overseas. And that's about it. So first off, you can introduce yourself. What's your name? How old are you? Where do you work? How long have you been teaching overseas? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, name Brannon Valade, age 26. I've been living out here in South Korea for just about a little bit coming up on 3 years, teaching English the whole time. Normally, or my original background with my degree was in history, worked in business for a few months, and then got out and been out of the US for ever since.
Nice. And you're in Seoul, right?
Yeah, the whole time I've been here in Seoul, South Korea.
Nice. So what motivated you to teach English overseas and why did you choose Korea?
Well, I guess it all started towards the end of my college career where I had an idea that I wanted to kind of get out, see the world, and just remove myself from my comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
see everything there was. So I went to Manchester, England to study abroad, and I had no idea really where I would go after graduation. It's pretty much just a joke among business students. So I studied history, but my community was mainly like in the business college. So that's most of my interaction there. And everyone was looking for high stress jobs, whether it be in finance or accounting.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much all anyone could talk about was, recruiters getting interviews, updating their resumes. People were very stressed all the time about securing a job. And a little joke everyone always had was, oh, well, if I strike out and I don't get anything, then I could always just teach English overseas somewhere in Asia or Thailand. And I would join the joke, kind of laugh about it, but the more I kind of got towards the end of my college life, I was thinking, why is that such a joke? Like, why not actually look into teaching overseas, because it's such a rare opportunity, especially having the privilege of being born in a country like USA or the UK, where just based off your native language, you're open to employment opportunities, across the world, where you can essentially live subsidized. Like I have an apartment, my flight was paid for, and all of that, fresh out of college. And I was just thinking it's such a rare, crazy opportunity that wasn't available 100 years ago, or really, any other previous generation of humanity. So yeah, after I graduated, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do as a career. I still don't exactly, but I thought it was such a great opportunity while I didn't have, a complete path set forward. So yeah, just took it. And the business I was working in after I graduated was mostly just like B2B sales. And it was kind of a confirmation of what I wanted to do, which was every minute I was stuck in a little cubicle working, making sales calls. I realized that I really wanted to go abroad and do more with my life while I was, still a young 20 something. So that's what brought me out here, South Korea.
Nice. And I know I was, as soon as I graduated, even before I graduated, I was like, I'm going to go teach overseas in Spain, improve my Spanish. I don't know why I was so obsessed with going specifically to Spain, maybe so I could travel in Europe. But, some people teach in Latin America, some people teach in Europe, some people teach in Asia. Was there any specific motivation to teach in Korea versus any of those other places?
Well, I was attracted more to big cities.
Mm-hmm.
So my original two options, actually, rather than teaching abroad, I was also thinking about just going up to New York.
Mhm.
and just getting heavy in basically any international community I could find in any big city. So that's where my options were. I always say that I didn't necessarily move to Korea. I moved to Seoul
Mhm.
because I wasn't really aware of anything to do with Korean culture. Um, I was very ignorant about anything when I first came here, which is how I wanted it because I wanted to be in a completely foreign environment.
Right.
But I really was attracted to just meeting people from all around the world, being, in a place where I could go out on a weekend and meet people from Europe, South America, different parts of Asia.
Mhm.
So that's originally what brought me to Korea. And for a lot of English teachers or people just starting out in the English teaching overseas gig, Korea is one of the best packages because they pay for flights, they pay for an apartment. The wage is a little bit higher than what you get in other countries. So it could have been, any other really country. It was kind of just random how things ended up aligning. And yeah, that's how I ended up in Korea. Over, it could have been Japan, but Japan is a little bit more expensive. They don't pay as much, and the apartments are not included in the deal.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty simple. It's just simple economics, kind of.
Yeah, I think Korea is definitely one of the best places for someone who wants to be able to teach overseas and save money. I know teaching in Spain and Brazil, I was able to save a little bit of money, but really you don't get to save up too much. You survive and you get to travel a little bit. But I'd say Korea is definitely a good option for people who want to teach overseas, and I think it's something a lot of people would be maybe hesitant to go to a different country where they don't speak the language. So I think it's brave of you to have considered doing that. I know you're in an international city and there's still people who speak English.
Yeah.
But I know when I was going to Spain, I was like, well, I'm going to make sure I learn Spanish before I go to Spain because, otherwise I'm going to feel like I'm in a different world. And it wasn't, a super easy experience being overseas. So I do think it's a brave thing to go to a new place where you don't really know anyone, you don't know the language, you're kind of just feeling your way out. So I think that's cool that you decided to do that.
Yeah, the culture is a little bit different here.
Hmm.
Korea is very accommodating with someone that doesn't know their language. Koreans don't expect any foreigner to
Hmm.
know Korean.
Hmm.
Um, like right now, Corona's been, having the country locked off for months. And yeah, just last weekend, I went to like a Mexican restaurant with a touch screen. And it's easy enough, you have pictures, but I can read the menu. I've been here for a bit.
Right.
And the lady at the register came up and she was all concerned, whether or not I understood any Korean, thinking that was, I was freaking out at the
Right.
experience.
Right.
But it's really easy for anyone coming over here and they're just jumping into the deep end. Like I didn't even know how to read when I first came over to Korea, and yeah, I was able to get by fine. It's not that really hard to live, especially in an international city like
Right.
Seoul. If I ever need help with any, big problems, like I have to fix a computer or something,
Mm.
you can just go to any of the major big shopping districts or the huge hubs of the city,
Right.
and pretty much all of the staff speaks English, like conversational English, because they have to in those big areas. Um, so yeah, myself, like my Korean, I don't really speak any Korean, like conversationally. I
Hmm.
just know how to read and I've known how to like say the phrases that I need to order in restaurants or use taxis. But um that's one thing. And so like you kind of you can learn about the culture through different ways,
Hmm.
but learning the language isn't 100% necessary if you're here for a short time. I'm leaving Seoul soon, mostly because if I was here any longer, then yeah, I would definitely be more inclined to get 100% immersed in the culture and you know live a Korean life. But
Right.
Not
Right.
not always the case. Yeah,
Now I know there are people who end up they go to teach overseas and then they just I'm gonna live here. This is gonna be my life. I'm sure you've met
yeah,
a lot of
definitely.
people. I'm sure you've met a lot of people that do that.